Hello crocheters, welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. In this project we are going to work up this super chunky, super textury crochet Easter basket. And as you can see by the photos, using this yarn gives us so much texture to the basket, it actually looks like a basket. Now the yarn that we're using is Bernat Baby Blanket. It's a number 6, super bulky. And as you can see, this happens to be some leftovers of mine. It uses very, very little yarn. Now the baskets are on the smaller side, and that was deliberate because if you've got any last minute Easter baskets to make up, these work up really fast. If you're experienced in crochet, you could whip one up in 30 minutes. Now these are great for children, or even if you want to take some gifts to work colleagues, work friends. This would be so nice, and you can fill it with whatever you like, of course. The handle does not need any reinforcement. It actually stands up by itself because of the weight of the yarn, or the thickness of the yarn. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to get started, and we are using a fairly large hook. This is a P as in puppy, or an 11.5 millimeter. We'll start with the solid pink, and we're going to work up the bottom, leave a tail, and we're going to do 3 chains. And this actually is how I do my slip knot. Then you're going to form a ring, inserting the hook into the first chain and bringing the yarn through for a slip stitch through that loop on the hook. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets into that hole. Start with a chain 1. Now hold the tail along the ring so that it is worked into the stitches and is hidden. If you need help with the beginning stitches, I'll leave a little white box up above that you can click, and that will take you to the beginner tutorials. You can learn how to do the chain, the single crochet. We're also going to work with a half double crochet. When you get your 6 single crochets done, you will join or close the ring by going into that first stitch for a slip stitch again. So we'll just bring the yarn through and then through the loop on the hook. That's a slip stitch. Now we're going to work single crochets around, and we're going to do 2 in each space. Start with 1 chain, and then in the next space enter 2 single crochets, in the next space 2 single crochets. So you are entering 2 single crochets into each space. You will have 12 total single crochets, and now enter the slip stitch to close the ring, or to close the round, into that beginning slip stitch. Work another slip stitch. Now chain 1. Right now for row 3, you're going to work 2 single crochets again into each space. So skip that first one right there. Go into the space between the 2 single crochets for your first 2. And then 2 in each space, all the way around, for 24 single crochets. The last two would go into that last space of the last two below. So you might want to consider working with a little bit looser tension for this yarn. Okay, so again, you're going to close the ring, the round, with a slip stitch into that first slip stitch. And now we're going to start forming the wall of the basket. Chain one, and now we're going to work a single crochet into each chain. So you can see the chain that forms at the top of the row below, but we're working in the back loop only. So there's the two strands for the chain, so go into the center in between the two strands, so that you're only working in that back loop. Single crochet. And this forms the ridge that helps that to stand up, helps the wall to stand up. Okay, so again, you would have had 24 single crochets, and go ahead and join with a slip stitch, chain one, and now do that one more time, only this time you are working under the two strands. So you're working for 24 single crochets again. Okay, now we're going to close the row with a slip stitch again after the 24th single crochet. But now we're going to drop the pink yarn, bring in the multicolor yarn, and we will work that slip stitch with the new yarn. Now chain two. Now we're going to start working with half double crochet. And all we're going to do is enter a half double crochet into each space for 24. So grab your yarn, insert into the space, 3 loops on the hook, pull the yarn through all 3 loops, and that's your half double. So we do that in every space. When you're done with the 24th half double crochet, you're going to drop that multicolor yarn, pull the pink back up, and you're going to work your slip stitch with the pink, the solid pink. And you can at this point cut off the multicolor, leave a tail, we'll bring that back in a little bit. So just toss the tail into the basket, and now work that slip stitch to close it up with the pink yarn, and you're going into the chain, that 2 chains that you started with. Now chain 1, and now work 24 single crochets, 1 single crochet into each space. Oh, and this time we are working under the 2 strands. So don't go into the big spaces in between the half doubles. Go under the chain on the top there, under the 2 strands. When you're done with the 24th single crochet, close up the row with the slip stitch. And we are going to drop that yarn, bring in the multicolor. Now we are going to work with, pull it through for a chain, reverse single crochet for the little border here. Now if you're uncomfortable with this, or you don't have time to learn a new stitch, then just go ahead and do a final row of single crochet. That'll work just fine. for those of you who want to work with the reverse single crochet, you are actually going backwards. So rather than going around the row this way, you're going this way. Okay, so insert the hook into that first space, grab the yarn, bring it up for 2 loops on the hook, and then pull the yarn through both loops for a single crochet. Now insert the hook into the next space, grab the yarn, pull it through the loop or through the space, 2 loops on the hook, pull the yarn through, and repeat that around. You can see how it's forming that cool little border up there. Just continue that into each space around. Now work your final single crochet into that last space. And now let's close off that row with a slip stitch. It's a little bit tight. Okay, now I already cut my yarn. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Leave a tail. And then bring that yarn through and lock everything in. Okay, now pull the solid color pink back up. Now we're going to work the handle. So we're going to work 16 chains. So go ahead and insert the hook. Now we're going to attach the chain. Make sure it's not twisted into the opposite side with a slip stitch. Now do another chain to lock it in. We're going to cut off the yarn, leave a tail. Now bring the multicolor back. You might be more comfortable turning the basket a little bit so that the chain is facing you. Okay, now insert the hook into the first chain. Grab that yarn with a slip stitch to join it. Leave a longer tail than that. There we go. Chain 1. And now do a single crochet into each chain. Okay, now we're going to attach it again with a slip stitch. And then chain. Now we're going to cut the yarn. And pull that yarn through to lock up that chain. And that's it. So just pull all the little stragglers in And if you want, you can tie these to secure them. I like knots. A lot of people don't, but with this you're going to fill the basket with whatever and it will cover up any lumps and bumps and whatever. Okay, so go ahead and then it's up to you if you want to weave these in. That will leave a little bit cleaner look, of course. I'm not going to right now in the interest of time. But there you go. Isn't that adorable? And here's what you end up with. I think that is just so cute. I love the texture. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up down below in the white space. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to go over to my homepage. So down again in the white space, look for where it says Crazy Cool Crochet. Click that. It opens up my homepage. And above that page, where it says videos, you can click on that and it opens up the entire library of really cool, crazy cool crochet patterns and designs and tutorials and more. Thank you so much.